Hey guys, John Klesnick with Bonnet Pro. We're going to go over the simple procedure to change the oil in your MiniMax Terminator. So what we're going to need is a couple of parts, a 5/8 and a 9/16 wrench, a 1/4 inch Allen key, a couple of Q-tips, some Teflon tape, and your machine came with a quart of the mobile SHC 634 gear oil and a syringe, and you're going to need a measuring cup and something to pour the dirty oil into. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the bumper wheel. That comes off real easy. You're going to remove the front breather, and this will allow, once this is out, this will allow the oil to drain out more easily. Now you want to do this oil change after the first 50 hours and about every 500 hours after that. So we have that out. I'm going to use our 1/4 inch key to remove the side plug here. And then once that's out, we're going to drain the oil. And what I want you to do is, once you pour it on the side and the oil's draining, let that drain out for about 10 minutes. So if there's any fragments of metal particles or anything in there, that you can get as much of that out as possible before we put the fresh lube in it. So I'm just going to back this up a little bit. I'm going to set my container, and you see that it starts to just come out real easy. Now even after the 50-hour change, that oil's going to look a little dirty, a little rough, so don't let that surprise you. That's normal, that's to be expected. Alright, so we'll let that drain and we'll come back in a few minutes and we'll put it back together. Okay, so we let the oil drain. I took the liberty of putting the Teflon tape on the plug and the vent. I put 2 wraps around the threads, 2 complete times around. Got a little bit of grease on the chassis, we'll just wipe that off. And what I do with the Q-tips is I'm just going to clean out these threads with a Q-tip and get any extra oil off of there, so we don't have any leaks or drips when we're putting things back together. So what I'm going to do now is I've filled up my measuring cup with 14 ounces of the mobile SHC 634 gear oil. But first, we have to put this plug back in so it doesn't drip out on us while we're filling it up. So, I don't know if you can see it here, there's 2 little vents. There's one here and one on the other side. And you want to make sure they're on the 3 and 9 o'clock position, not the 6 and the 12. So we'll tighten this up. You want to snug this up pretty good, but of course you don't want to crank it too much where we strip the threads, because then you'll have leak issues on the gearbox, and we don't want that. So we'll put this back in first, and then we'll tip the machine over. We'll fill it up, and then we'll put in the side plug and put your bumper wheel back on, and that's all there is to it. Turn it just a little more. Right now it's at the 6 and 9 o'clock position, so we're just going to turn it 1/4 away and get that to the off to the side there, and now that's good. So I'm going to lean my machine over. We'll take our syringe, and you need to do this 7 times. The syringe holds 2 ounces. More isn't better, and less isn't advised. We want 14 ounces in there. And we don't want to use any other gear lubricant other than this mobile product. This will also be available at bonnetpro.com for future purchases. we get a break on it. I've seen it as much as $30 a quart. So that's 2. That's 3. Let's wipe that off. And actually I'm pushing that stem in there deep. If you don't do that, it'd be a little neater than the way I'm doing it, now that I think about it. I'll just put the tip in it this time. And again, the oil in the syringe comes with your initial purchase at no extra cost, and this will do the initial 50-hour and the 500-hour oil change, so it'll take care of you for quite a while. All right, let's try to get the rest of this out of here. And it's important to measure it too, because you might not get the exact amount. You might not get the 2 inches, or I'm sorry, the 2 ounces in when you're filling that up. You might even want to put just a little extra in here, because some of it's going to stick in the tip of the syringe and in the measuring cup. So we make sure we get that 14 ounces. So we'll put just a little bit extra in there. And actually, I made a mistake earlier. I should have used the Q-tips now and not in the beginning. However, this did keep any dirty oil from being washed back into the machine, so you can do it twice if you like. So we'll wipe that off. We're going to put our side plug back in with a 1/4 inch Allen wrench. I had bad video manners here, I apologize. And then just over the next day or so after you do this, just check to make sure you don't have any oil dripping out of these plugs here or the vent. And if they do, just give them a little snug, a little tightening, and I'll take care of that for you. We'll stand this back up. We'll put on our bumper wheel. And we're back in business. Grab your 9/16 and just snug this down. Make sure that there's no give or no movement in this. Your wheel's going to turn because that's separated from the center bearing, and then you're good to go. We're going to go over a couple other things to look at with the care and maintenance of your new machine, and let me get a new machine on the table and we'll go over that in just a minute. Let's go over a couple things with the new Terminator. Just keep in mind, when you're transporting the machine, keep the long bristle pad drive under the machine. That helps protect your hub and your motor shaft. And should you ever have to remove the motor, the hub has to come off. On the old machines there was just a bolt on the bottom, but on the new machines we also have a set screw up on the motor shaft, so you need an 1/8 inch Allen wrench to loosen that up before you can slide this off. And when you put this back on the motor shaft, make sure you have a little bit of grease on there, because the shaft is steel even though this is aluminum, so it'll help things come apart easier for you in the future. Another very important thing you need to be aware of is it's going to be hard to see. You have a little pipe clamp here, a stainless steel pipe clamp, and that comes from my factory in a position where it needs to stay all the time, and here's why. That allows the handle to only go up to a certain position. Right here you have an elbow coming off the electrical box, and you have the frame of your solution caddy here, and we can't have this make contact with this elbow, so that clamp keeps the handle back far enough that should this rotate up far, it doesn't come in contact with the electrical wiring. So that's very important. If you should have an issue with your handle clamp, what you want to do is tighten this up just to the point where it's starting to grab, and then back off just a little bit, and that should be just enough so when you push this down, you don't have it sets it. If this gets dirty, or you allow the lack of maintenance to let this get rusty, this is going to cause a problem for this clamp to slide up and down the handle tube. So the cleaner this is, it's definitely worth a minute at the end of the day to wipe it down with a wet rag and keep that clean, so you have nice smooth action with this. And then don't forget too, you have another clamp up here, and once you get your perfect position, slide that clamp down to it after it's locked and tighten it up, so every time you lower your handle it goes exactly to where you like it. We have a filter for your pump, and that's stronger than I am. Alright, we'll get pliers. That's something that you can just rotate off and clean this out as needed. You have a nice fine mesh screen in there to keep your pump clean and to keep your front jets from becoming clogged, and then just tighten that back up when you're done. Now, one thing to be aware of is if you use hydrogen peroxide based products, the hydrogen peroxide will discolor the anodizing of the aluminum cooling fin on the pump. So that's just what it is if you choose to use the hydrogen peroxide. There's a great cleaning benefit from it, but it does, the anodized aluminum doesn't seem to agree with it very much. Most of your fittings have Loctite on them when I put it together. Your wheel studs and the studs for the pill blocks and up here. So if for some reason you take those off, shouldn't need to heat them, but it will take a little bit of effort to break that Loctite to get these components off. I think that covers some of the basic stuff. Your wheels are precision sealed, so you really don't have to do any maintenance on these other than keep them clean to your satisfaction. And the shaft for the main axle is precision ground stainless, so you shouldn't really have an issue with that either. So the maintenance on the machine, other than the oil change, which we just went over, is pretty basic. Don't lose your cord. We'll have extra cords available online in case you should misplace your cord or damage it. And that's going to cover most of what you need to know. Again, just make sure this clamp, you don't move this, because that's very important, because if this elbow gets damaged, that won't be covered under warranty. It's in an area that it won't make contact when you're cleaning, so it's important to keep it safe by keeping the handle in the right position, which is set slightly off of a 90-degree angle in the upright position. So you guys have any problems, give me a call at 877-477-1615. I'd be happy to talk with you and help you care for your machine when needed. And we thank you for your purchase and for watching.